Is your bird really smelly? Let's find out why in this video. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Parrot Teacher. I'm David and today we're discussing why your bird might stink. It's quite an interesting problem and it's one that's not as uncommon as you think. There are lots of smelly birds out there and there are lots of reasons why your bird may smell. It's actually one of those common questions I get asked quite a lot, and even though Sophie covered this video a long time ago, I felt it was time for a quickfire video on my channel to discuss why your bird might smell and what you maybe can do to prevent it. One of the biggest factors that seems to impact whether your bird smells and whether they smell in a sort of seasonal way rather than constantly is hormones. When your bird does get hormonal, they do get very hormonal due to a variety of triggers. I've got a whole hormone series, I'll leave a card for that right now. They can get very stinky. Obviously they're getting very excited, they're in the hormonal state, things are changing in their body, and obviously that would make them smell different. I know our conures definitely have a different sort of scent to them when it is hormone season or when they get hormonal. They tend to, I don't know, it's like almost like a musty smell. And it's not always unpleasant, but it can be quite intense sometimes. But yeah, hormones are a big factor when your bird is stinky. Another major factor when it comes to your bird being a stinky bird is you, and that is excessive touching, and especially excessive touching if your hands have anything on them or they're dirty or whatever else. If you're constantly petting your bird, constantly touching your bird, and your hands have, I don't know, I'm going to use a really random example like Cheeto dust or whatever on them, and then you're touching your bird, that's going to transfer, all those oils are going to build up on their feathers, and that smell is going to come onto them. And if there's loads of different smells on your hand, you're constantly touching them, that's going to create a miasma of different stinks on your bird. So if you're constantly touching your bird and you're not really keeping your hands clean, that's going to be a major factor for when they smell. I mean, when we got Olive, she smelled of old feet, and that was purely because we believe that people who are handling her constantly never ever wash their hands before doing so. Your parrot's general environment can impact whether they smell or not. Whether you have various factors like cooking smells that are going in there, although I hope you keep your birds away from cooking, smells from outside, the smell of your room in general, all sorts of things, and that all transfers onto their feathers, it's absorbed over time, and that can cause them to smell. So it's something again to be very aware of. There's some smells that are more pleasant than others, but you know, your environment will impact how your bird smells, and where they've previously been will also impact that too. Your parrot's diet will also impact how they smell. If your parrot's on a less than ideal diet, that could influence how they smell in comparison if they're on a healthier diet with loads of whole foods, all sorts of different bits and pieces. We have noticed the same with our rescues. When we've converted them to a healthier diet, their smell has changed and in our opinions become much more pleasant. So what you feed your parrot can impact how they smell. It can also impact how they smell with regards to their breath and what they interact with closely. For example, we have this lovely flower forage mix and green forage mix which we sell on our store. When they've played in that smell transfers onto them and they smell absolutely lovely. It's similarly when they eat things that smell nice. Their breath smells nice, just like us humans. If we eat things that aren't ideal, we're stinky too. So think about your parrot's diet and what they're interacting with in the food way, because that can really change how they smell. Finally, before I start going on to the factors that can help with parrot smells and maybe explain why sometimes they'll smell for long periods, is your parrot species will have an impact on what they smell like. For example, cockatiels have a almost cucumber dusty smell, whereas conures may have a more musty smell. That's the only way I can describe it. Everyone will have their own way of describing it. Your parrot species will influence how they smell. So if someone's saying, oh, my conure smells like roses, and then someone else has a macaw who smells completely different, that could be a major factor in it too. Now sadly, if your parrot is very stinky and it's not to do with hormones or seasonal stuff, then that smell's probably going to stay for quite some time. Your parrot will have to molt out those feathers to get rid of that smell. Basically it will stay there until they molt out their feathers. You can improve their diet, which will help a little bit. You can obviously offer them baths and washing, which will also help a little bit. You can even use teas to help as well. You can give them a light misting with teas. Again, we sell them, so you can look at what we've got. These can all help with it, but generally overall you have to wait till they molt it out. One other way is prevention. Think about their environment and what smells are in it. Think about maybe washing your hands before you handle them if you've handled anything that's particularly stinky. Although to be honest, I'd hope most of you would do that anyway. If you had like, I'm gonna use Cheeto dust again because it's a great example, and then you start petting your dog, you wouldn't do that. So you wouldn't do it to your bird either. So think about, be mindful of washing your hands before handling them, because it's good practice anyway. So there are the reasons your bird may be stinky. Do you have any others you might want to add to the list? If so, I'd love to hear from you down below. But in the meantime, take care and see you later.